It's a tremendous, wonderful privilege and pleasure to stand before you again today. I feel very honored and blessed to have an opportunity once more to speak to the people of God. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
A blessed New Year. It may not be happy. It may not be peaceful. You know, if you observe these people and what they do, they certainly are not going to bring about a peaceful world. Once again, we are into a new dispensation. This dispensation is entitled 2019. And where 2018 we may have done some things and we may have achieved some things and we may have, you know, been on that road of self-improvement, in 2019, whatever we did in 2018, in 2019, our aim and purpose, our objective should be to take it to another level. Can I get a witness? You know, we must not ever become complacent, and stagnant is a good word. We must never ever, beloved, in this day and time, feel like we've arrived. Feel like because we're wearing a white outfit or a bow tie and a suit, that somehow that means the arrival, that we have arrived and that we no longer have to strive or we no longer have to do anything in terms of our growth and development. Our leader and teacher is 85 years old. I believe he will be 86 on the 11th of May 2019. And I can assure you, beloved, that even at 85 years old, his mind is such that he is constantly in learning mode. Do you believe that this man is a man who is learning and he is open to learn? Yeah, a sponge soaking up the knowledge, wisdom and understanding that Almighty God Allah has placed within the universe for us. I was thinking about this the other day, how life itself is like a puzzle. Do we appreciate that life is a puzzle that we have to work out? Have you ever thought about the fact that this lectern that I'm holding right now comes out of the earth? How did it come out of the earth, beloved? It certainly didn't come out of the earth in this shape and like it is now. What was the ingenuity necessary for men and women to go into the earth that looks just like dirt, but somehow be able to extract the material that then can be transformed into a transparent plastic or transparent glass, fashioned into shape that then turns into this lectern? Think about it, beloved. Because no angel floated down and said Shazam or abracadabra. Human beings had to go into the earth and separate manganese from steel, from copper, from brass, from gold. Think about this, beloved. Do you know that when they find oil in the soil, that the oil is not just used for petrol? Do we understand that not only is petrol, but do you know those vinyl records back in the day? Do you know that that was from oil? Do we appreciate, beloved, that the petroleum jelly that we as black people What we call Vaseline. But listen to the name. The real name is petroleum jelly. It's coming from petrol, or coming from the oil resource that in one conversion becomes petrol, in another conversion becomes jelly that we can put on our skins. Human beings, beloved, had to go into the soil and solve a puzzle. Some of us make the mistake of sitting around in our lives saying, "Wow, oh, it's too hard." Look, it's designed that way. And it's designed that we would develop the brain power in order to solve problems. Because it's in the solving of problems that human beings make progress. This is really important. And every time we shy away from a problem, we retard, we go backwards, we stagnate. We cease to grow and evolve toward that perfect state or condition that we were created by the Creator to ultimately become. Some of us will spend money to go to a concert. Back in the day, we would have gone to see Prince. He's no longer with us. We may have gone to see the Honorable Robert Nesta Marley. He's no longer with us. We may have gone to see MJ, Michael Jackson. He's no longer with us. We may have gone to see Whitney Houston. She's no longer with us. We may have gone to see so many people. Our great brother Luther Vandross. But why did we, or why would we take our money to pay to go and see these people? Because these people had developed skills to the point where these skills were so sublime. Their voices were so beautiful, their expression was so unique that we would pay money to go and sit in front of them or stand in front of them and be influenced by their energy, their sound, their music. Some of us are into sports. And why would we spend money? I mean, I don't even know what they cost nowadays, but I know it's very expensive now to go and watch Premier League football. The season tickets and the ticket prices to go into these football matches, they're astronomical.
Yes, sir.
But there is no shortage of takers, beloved. Those terraces are full. And you know, when you hear people, there's no money, there's no money. People got money, beloved. Because that's pastime money. That's not essential money. That's pastime money. That's fun and game money. But nevertheless, people will find the money and they will pay whatever it costs to go and watch their team play. Why? Because the players are displaying sublime skills. You see, you will only know how sublime those skills are when you get on that pitch and try making that cross, or heading that ball into the top corner, or saving that point blank range shot from a centre forward, and you are the goalkeeper and you've got to stop it from going into the goal. You would only appreciate these things when you are trying to run up and down that pitch for 45 minutes or 90 minutes and your lungs start to burn. You would only really begin to appreciate the sublime skills involved. And I'm talking about these things, and I'm using just little pointers to indicate to you and I that, beloved, as human beings, we are not nearly as developed as we think we are. And the same way in which we're paying to go and see these people, you know, if when the Apollo flights were happening in the 70s and the 60s and the 70s, and they were sending these rockets into space. They say they went to the moon, and now the Chinese have said that they've gone to the moon, to the dark side of the moon. The Chinese have gone to the dark side. But you know, beloved, if you had an opportunity to go to Cape Canaveral and or the launch site of where the Chinese rocket recently went up, and somebody said, oh, you know, I can get a ticket for you to go and be very close and watch it go, you'd probably want to go and have a look, beloved. Why do you want to go and have a look at that? Because, see, beloved, the ingenuity, the technology, the engineering to produce that type of vehicle that's going to go to space, it's well worth seeing. That's a once in a lifetime opportunity to see something like that. But what are you looking at? You're looking at the magnificence of the brain and the development and the power of human beings. Human beings, this is what human beings do. Imagine you had an opportunity to go into a surgery, into an operating theater, and look at a surgeon remove a defective heart and then replace it with a new heart. Would you want to see something like that?
Yes, sir.
No, I would. I mean, one brother is shaking his head. No, thank you, no, thank you. Some of us are queasy like that. Some of us are we don't want to see that. But it's fascinating to, and especially, believe me, you know, did you know one of the reasons why, for instance, as a relative of somebody on the operating theater, on the operating table, why they wouldn't necessarily like you to be in the room when they're operating on your relative? It's not necessarily because of the blood, it's not necessarily because of, you know, the particular ailment that the person is suffering from, but it's because of the way in which the surgeons themselves have to handle the body of your relative. You might think they don't care. Like the initial cut down the chest. It's not, there's no little, it's just a cut, beloved. Man's just opening up that body, beloved. And then opening it and putting clamps to open you, beloved. And if you're going to watch your relative being treated like that, you might pass out. Do you understand what I'm saying? Let's be clear. You know, if we're not separating now, you know, then we don't get it. Separation is not to come. Separation must be now. And what I'm saying is that in our minds, we must be separated. You have to start thinking separate. Yes, an independent mentality. We cannot, beloved, because, you know, too many of us are reliant still on this system. And if you're not in a separate mode of operation, when it comes down, you got to understand that everything that's dependent on it will go down with it. That's right. It's like a huge ship sinking. Did you know that anything in the vicinity of the ship that's sinking goes down with it? Yes, pulls everything down, beloved. And so we have to be separate now. Even though physically we may still be within this world, the scripture is clear. You are in the world, but not of the world. So we have to separate now. We're in a new year, beloved. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan wrote something talking about our demonstration of love. Yes. Come on, beloved. You know, what has characterized the black community for many, many years has been a lack of love. Because it's not really our fault. We have been miseducated as to, one, what love really is, and two, to love the wrong people. And to hate ourselves. So this isn't to put the blame on us, but having come into a knowledge of ourselves, having come into a knowledge of what real love is, it's incumbent on us now to begin to demonstrate a real love, and have that demonstration of love be a part of our everyday existence. And when we come together, when we are together, when we, whether, and I'm saying together in the physical sense, but you know, whether we're together in a physical sense or not, when we are away from one another, we should still be loving one another, beloved. But we do need love in the black community. We need love in the nation of Islam. Real love, not no pretend love, beloved. Too much fakery going on, where people have got resentments against other people and they fake smile. All that stuff has got to stop.
That's right. Yes, sir.
We need some real love and a real demonstration of love, so that in the end, because love is a kind of cement. Remember what love is. It's freedom, justice, and equality. Do you love me?
Yes, sir.
You should want to see me free, beloved.
Yes, sir.
Any of us busy trying to tie people down? That's not love. I know as brothers, we think, you know, holding the wife, still. That is not love, beloved. Some of us as women, we think, I need to know where he is 24 hours, 7. That's not love, beloved. It's not love. If you love them, let them go. Free them up. Free them up. That's love. Love is not jealous, is it?
No.
Envious? Come on, man. Justice. See, we have to give justice to one another. We live in a world, beloved, of pure injustice. And we moan and groan and complain all the time as black people about the unjust nature of the world in which we live. But beloved, it will never change until we first give justice to one another. If there is no justice within our circle, you expect justice to be? You got to be joking, beloved. Did you know that for them to be able to give justice to us, they've got to see us being just to one another? Have you heard our prayer, beloved? I have been greatly unjust to myself. Beloved, if I'm going to be unjust to me, how can I be just to you? So there's some stuff that we got to do just in terms of ourselves. Did you know that when you smoke a cigarette, you're being unjust to yourself?
Come on.
Did you know that when you put alcohol into your system, you're being unjust to yourself? Do you know, beloved, that if you are a person who is just eating the foods that you know, we're not supposed to eat collard greens. We're not supposed to eat kale. We're not supposed to eat nuts. We're not supposed to eat these things, beloved. We are not supposed to be eating whole bars of chocolate all day long. Beloved, chocolate is a good, beloved, you can eat some chocolate, beloved. But 3 things of whole nut. till your jaw Clyde. That's being unjust to self, because what you're doing is you're fostering illness. You are promoting now a bad system that's going to come back and hurt you, beloved.
Great, bro.
Equality, beloved. Leo Muhammad is standing at the front speaking. Does that make me superior to any of you? No, beloved. No, beloved. But you see, some of us will say that, but deep inside of our self-conceited self, we feel superior. No, beloved. Let him who would be your servant. You know what it means to be a servant, beloved? Ain't nothing wrong with being a servant, you know. Especially when we're serving our people who have never had nobody serve them, beloved. Do you know that we've been forced into servitude for over 400 years and we have never been served ourselves? And if our people genuinely knew and could recognize within us that we are here to serve, oh my God, we would see another level of love from the black community. We can't, beloved, walk around like we are the masters over our people. You know the righteous because they walk how? They walk the earth in humility. That don't mean we have to, well, I'm not talking about no fake humility, beloved. But what I am saying is that equality, I heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan say it like this. He said, we're all born equally. When we're born, we all come in crying. We make that universal sound, right? And then the minister says, when we die, we make a universal sound. That exhalation of the breath as we pass. He says all in between is confusion. See, it's the in-between part where we all get crazy and start thinking, yeah, I'm different and I'm this and I'm that. Look, man. Love, beloved, is something that has to be cultivated. A Muslim, be that Muslim male or female, wants or should want for his or her brother or sister what they want for themselves. Whatever it is that you want for yourself, you should want it for your brother or your sister. Look, beloved, we need to appreciate what freedom, justice and equality looks like. And I've taught on this before, but I'll just touch on it very briefly again. We must eliminate from our psyche, from our psychology, fear. And part of the reason why we don't love enough is because we're fearful. We're scared. We're scared to love. We're scared to show, you know, that side of ourselves that says, my brother is my equal, if not my superior. We're scared to give our hearts to our partners and to trust them, you know, that they're not going to crush the heart. You know, but that's fear. And we have to eliminate the fear, beloved. And we have to love fully. And even if you don't get it in a reciprocal manner from where you send it, that's irrelevant. What's important is that you love. Really important that you give freedom, justice, and equality to the other. And then you will receive it back from the universe, even if it don't come back from that one. And you know, over time, beloved, when you're loving and caring and for somebody, and you know, you know, Allah will always show you whether or not that person really loves you, really cares about you. Do you understand? And then the thing about this is that you have to also not be in denial. We have to be truthful to ourselves. We have to be able to recognize and realize that, you know, the person don't feel about me the way in which I feel about them. Did you hear when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was breaking down his relationship with Brother Malcolm?
Yes, sir.
And he explained how he would have taken a bullet like that for Malcolm. That's how he felt about Malcolm. He felt like that about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he felt like that about Malcolm, and he would have taken a bullet for Malcolm in an instant. But the minister said that when Malcolm said to him, brother, what did he say?
I wish it was you.
I wish it was you being an example for me rather than me being an example for you. The minister said at that moment he realized Malcolm didn't feel about him like he felt about Malcolm. See, because you've heard the saying, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
That's right.
So you got to think about these things, beloved. Somebody say, I wish it was you, not me. No, well, why would you? No, I'm sorry it's me. But I certainly am not going to wish it on you. If I don't want it for me, why would I wish it on you? It's wicked, beloved. You shouldn't want it for anybody. I gave up drinking alcohol, and a relative was asking me to bring some alcohol back from Jamaica for them. I said, no, I'm not going to do it. To this day, they're vexed with me. But if I'm not going to consume it myself, why would I purchase it for you? I don't care that you like it and you drink it. The fact that I won't put that thing into my system because I know what it does, I'm not going to encourage you to do it. If you're going to do it, you do it by yourself, not with my help. When I gave up smoking weed, I used to puff. I had some weed, and the thought went through my mind, smoke it off. And I said, no, man. Because when I actually finally gave up weed, it was wonderful. When I finally gave up cigarettes, it was wonderful because when you give it up, when you really give it up, you know it. There was many times before that when I said I'd given up, and I hadn't given up, beloved. Lying to oneself. But when I did give it up, and I knew I'd given it up, and it was because of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who asked a very simple question. The minister said, if you love yourself, will you kill yourself? Would you kill yourself? And I thought to myself, my God, I love myself. Why am I killing myself? And that was the little trigger that allowed me to be able to give up smoking. But when I gave it up, I had weed left. And the thought did cross my mind to give it to somebody. But I said, no, beloved. I dashed it away, flushed it. Why would you give it to somebody else? If you've now recognized that this thing is harmful. One brother in the Nation of Islam back in the day, he confessed to us that he had a big box of cigars. He don't smoke them, but he's got a big box of cigars on top of his wardrobe in his bedroom. And some bottles of wine or something like that. I said, well, why are you keeping those, brother? Because make no mistake about it, you will go back to that at some point. When the right pressure comes. What do you say, saving it for a rainy day? No, beloved. We have to get rid of these things. In the book of Ephesians, chapter 4, verse 24, it says, and that you put on the new man, which was created according to God in true righteousness and holiness. And that you put on the new man. We're in a new year. And it's not just about the changing of one year into another year. It's an opportunity for us to renew. Put on the new man. What does that mean? See, there's an old man that is walking around with us. And that old man, he's got a lot of old bad habits. And the turn of the year is a wonderful opportunity because it's renewal, because it's new. It's a great opportunity for us to also go through that process of renewal, beloved. And the old has to be discarded, and it's very difficult for people. Because I think they say old habits die hard. See, habit, in the word habit is where you get the word habitat. Because your habit becomes your home. You know, we do things habitually. Habit. Yes? And many things that we do, we don't even know why we do what we do. But it's because it's become a habit. And we're now living in that activity. We're now living in that place. And in order to... How many of you have moved home in the last 5 years? How many people in here have moved home in the last 5 years? Okay, one man. But I'm telling you, beloved, house moving, it's one of the most traumatic things you can go through, especially when you've accumulated a lot of stuff. And that packing and that moving, and you got to get into the new place and whatever. See, it's very, very difficult. They say, we know that the law says that the one constant in life is change. But the thing that people don't like the most is change. And so things are forever changing and evolving, but we are resistant to change because change oftentimes involves a kind of upheaval. And I've got to say this, you know, because it's unfortunate, but the kind of changes that we're talking about, when we say put on the new man, see, we have to become a people, beloved, who really start to analyze everything that we think, everything that we say, and everything that we do. Because some of the things that we think are the things that are causing us tremendous problems. And we think that the problem that we have is an external problem. It's some external source. It's the government. It's my mother. It's my father and what they didn't do for me when I was younger. It's, you know, this, that, or the other. But it could just simply be our own thinking. You get me? So let me use myself as an example. For instance, see, I grew up, beloved, with all of those things about it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God. I grew up, beloved, believing that money is the root of all evil. I grew up and I developed this condition which is like literally like hatred for money, to the point where I didn't like to touch it. So even when I'm working and earning money, I would try to avoid touching it, and as soon as I could hand it over to my wife or my girlfriend or somebody else to take charge of it, that's what I would do. But psychologically, what I was saying is, money, stay the hell away from me. My resentment towards money created a problem where You know, I've earned some money in my life or whatever, but where the money wasn't really there, I know that having now begun to really make an analysis of this to do with my own thinking. You can't hate something and attract it at the same time. And not just Leo Muhammad, I'm saying many black people are like this. Especially black people who have been schooled in this idea that rich people are wicked people and there's a virtue in poverty. No, beloved, it's not correct. It's not good teaching. And it's really, really important to understand, beloved, that, and even understand what the scripture says, because it doesn't say money is the root of all evil. It says the love of money. There's a big difference. You know, the lust for money. But money is a neutral thing that if you use it to purchase an incubator for a premature baby, is that a good or a bad thing?
It's good.
If you use it to purchase a roof over your head for you and your family, is it a good or a bad thing? If you are able to pay your way so that you can go and visit your relatives wherever they are on the planet, is it a good or a bad thing? If you can get yourself some decent transportation to get you up and down the country and wherever you want to go, good or bad thing, beloved? Come on, man. If you take the money and go and buy yourself a Smith & Wesson .38 caliber pistol, and at night you go out with a mask on your face, good or bad? Right, so it's not the money. It's the use to which it's put.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying, beloved? And so I'm saying we have to be very mindful of the thinking. I was reading something recently where they're saying now that a lot of young people, a lot of young children, when I say young, I'm talking about age 12, 13, 14, 15, that a lot of them now, because of the advent of the smartphones and the online media, that a lot of them are being exposed to pornography. And a lot of them are watching hardcore pornography. And as a result of that, they have a particular, when I say they, I'm talking specifically now about the boys, they have a particular attitude towards girls. And then the girls themselves who are also watching the hard porn content, they have a particular attitude towards boys and a particular attitude towards themselves. And there is a lot of things happening now of a sexual nature with the youth, which would make our, if I had hair, it would make our hair curl if we knew what some 12 and 13-year-olds were being exposed to, stuff that me and you never knew until we were in our 30s, or we shouldn't have known until we were in our 30s. But this is the kind of environment that's out there, and it's influencing the way they think. And a lot of the killings that you're also seeing, because they've got this this media called Fortnite. There's Grand Theft Auto. In Grand Theft Auto, apparently they jump out of the car, rape people on the sidewalk, drive-by shootings, whatever, all this kind of stuff. There's some war ones. Give me the name. Black Ops.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. Was a lot of killings, just killings. And again, we don't appreciate, you know, you'll have these scientists and pseudo-scientists who will tell you, oh no, these things have got no influence. It's a big lie, beloved. Massive influence on the young minds of the youth who are exposed to these things, and they develop a cold, callous attitude towards their own life and the life of others.
Rap music, everything rap.
Never, brother, the music now takes it onto another level. The language about women, the language about drugs, the language about killing. And it's, see, you got to understand that with music in particular, and the games as well, because it's a repetition. They're doing it every day. And they spend hours playing these things. But the music, it's what's called a mantra. There's a reason why we are admonished and really, you know, commanded to pray 5 times a day. It's because if you're doing something 5 times a day at specific intervals, beloved, the chances are that thing is going to become, at some point, that thing is going to become a way of life. And it's going to either empower you or disempower you, depending on what it is that you're doing 5 times a day. If the young people are 5 hours playing some mad, crazy game, beloved, that is having a very, very serious influence on their minds and their thinking. And then from the thinking comes words. And if you look at some of the attitudes now of the youth towards their parents and some of the things that they say and how they got a kind of a swagger to their parents, beloved. See, because they've been, and they'll tell the parents now to their face, you can't touch me. I'll call social services. You've now got parents who are at loggerheads on a constant daily basis with their children, because it's like there's a huge divide that has been created based on social engineering with this new technology. Because it's not an accident. The youth have been targeted. Have you heard what the government's doing now? Haven't you seen the recruitment drives now for them to join the military? That was always the plan. See, now they're using Kitchener's picture. Kitchener from the First World War, your country needs you. Lord Kitchener, but now it's saying to all the nerds, to all the like phone users, to all they're using this social media language, to all those who spend their time basically in IT and online and on social media, your country needs you for the military. You understand? Because this was always the plan, to take the children away from their parents and to make them literally like social outcasts. See, children now, a lot of children, you can't even have a decent conversation with them. It's like they can't spin 2 words together. And you can walk into a room, they're in a room, and they'll be playing something on their phone or whatever, and a brief look up like that, and they're back, straight back. No, beloved. You know, the parents now, the children, they go to bed at night, they got the phone in the bed. No, my children can't go to no bed with no phone in their bedroom, beloved. No electronics in the bedroom, beloved.
That's right.
My children can't be on no electronics during dinner time. At the table, you've got to be... See, there's got to be rules and barriers set, because they're being programmed. I'm dealing here with thought, word, and deed. And we're talking about putting on the new man, because we're in a new year and there has to be a new attitude, a new awakening, a new dispensation. Otherwise, beloved, the old will continue. And the old, there's a reason why the devil started talking about a new world order. He's not talking about no new nothing, beloved. He's talking about continuing the old into the new. And the old was empire, domination, one world government, white supremacy, and he has no intention of changing. But he has to dress it up like, oh, it's going to be new. Ain't new, beloved. Ain't nothing new under the sun, especially for him. But we're the ones who have got to recognize what God has come to do. And the black community in particular We have to be renewed from that horrible condition that we have been placed in. And you can't make that process begin until we are courageous enough to recognize the fact, the reality, acknowledge it, embrace it. In atonement, we have to first what? Point out the wrong. The second stage is to acknowledge it. But if somebody points out wrong and the other person is in denial, the process stops. You can't get to the third stage until you acknowledge each stage in succession. Look, beloved, the scripture says, put on the new man. In the book of Revelations, chapter 21, verse 5, it says, and he that sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new. It's time for a new attitude. And again, you have to not be fearful that because now you are acting different and you are manifesting a new way. We don't want to do that because we think people are going to judge us, or people are going to look at us sideways, or people are not going to, you know. There has to be a continuous process of growth and development. We must not ever become comfortable where we are. In the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 2, it says, and I'll never get tired of quoting this one, be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Look, beloved, do you know what a task it is to renew your mind? That ain't no lightweight thing. See, it's all well and good saying, you know what, from now on I'm gonna go to the gym every week with Brother Clint. That's easy. The decision is easy. I mean, being in the gym with Clint is not so easy. Yeah, but that's a relatively easy decision to make and transition to make. But the renewing of the mind, see, again, I've got to emphasize, beloved, we have to become, listen to this, I want you to follow me. We have to become conscious of being conscious. We're doing so many things that we do them unconsciously. We be on the phone talking to somebody. Yeah, man, yeah, disgusting. Yeah, wicked, yeah, disgusting, yeah, horrible, terrible, yeah, terrible, man, disgusting. Do you know, beloved, that when we express ourselves, even that's an innocent thing, because we're talking, the person is telling us about these Caucasians on the road. And we were just agreeing, yeah, disgusting, yeah, the behavior is disgusting, beloved. Yeah, they're nasty, yeah, they're wicked. But your subconscious mind, hearing disgusting, wicked, horrible, terrible, your subconscious mind, it ain't making no distinction about you're talking about somebody, or it's seeping into it. In fact, how the subconscious mind takes it is that you're saying you're disgusting. You're horrible. You're nasty. See, language. We never understood. In the beginning was the Word. And the Word was God. You got to understand. See, beloved, the words are not just words. And especially the words that we repeat over and over again, and the words that we say to ourselves. So we have to begin to now monitor what we think and what we say, and ultimately what we do based on those thoughts and those words. Because when you begin to monitor now, become conscious of being conscious, you will be shocked at some of the things, the habitual thought processes that we have. how we think about this person, how we think about that person. But how you think about that person often is a reflection of how you think about yourself. Remember, a Muslim is one who wants for his brother or sister what he wants for himself. See, unless you're thinking freedom, justice, and equality for other people, you are going to struggle yourself to achieve it yourself. Because when you're, you know, as a Caribbean person, Jamaican, this is bad-minded. You have bad mind. Imagine that. Imagine a bad-minded person. You can't see it. They don't show it. They're smiling all the time at you, beloved. But their mind bad. They're thinking bad. Well, that person hurts themselves more than the person they're thinking bad about. We have to get rid of bad-mindedness. A mind full of suspicion. You don't trust your wife. Think about it, beloved. Every time she's out of your sight, you're thinking some nastiness. Think, this is serious stuff. Not only do you have the power to bring about the nastiness that you're thinking, but quite often, if that's where your mind goes, it's because that's the kind of person you are. And until she can walk out the door and you can rejoice in the fact that you've got a beautiful wife who you trust 100%. Because if you trust her 100%, you trust yourself 100%. We were never taught how to think. And in fact, what we've been taught is how to think wrong. And we've got to change the thinking. Look, beloved, let me go get controversial now. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, beloved, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has echoed it. Because, you know, some of us, we're praying for Judgment Day.
Yes, sir.
But what did the minister say? The minister said, don't pray for that. See, beloved, did you know that God would love to give the Caucasian a chance? Did you know that he is the beneficent and the merciful, the oft returning to mercy, the merciful? Oh my God, beloved, he's full of mercy. You see, when he sent that prophet and said, go and find me 50, go and find me 40, go and find me 30, go and find me 20, go and find me 10, go and find me 1, and I will save the entire city. Do you know when them disciples were questioning Jesus and they say, how many times should we forgive? And he said 70 times 70. In other words, infinity. Because it's all about mercy. Do you know that the Caucasian, that's our children?
Yes.
How many of you want to punish your child to death? I just want you to think about it, you know, because some of us have got bad children. Some of us have got disobedient children. How many of us think to ourselves, you know something, we just kill her. Want me to just kill him. Let me just kill him. Put a little poison in food or something like that. I mean, think about it, beloved. Think about it. You would never go there. So why would we relish the idea of the Caucasian being slaughtered? No, beloved. That's not our thought.
That poisoned their parents.
See, and it don't matter. You remember. See, who's the potter? Who made the Caucasian? We made him, beloved. We are responsible for him. So we can't blame him for his behavior when he was given that nature. We just got to recognize the nature and understand that there's a way that you have to deal with him, and that you don't become victimized by him because he was given the technology to rule us. So we've got to just understand his motivation and not succumb to his rule any longer. But now to turn around now and become so angry and so vengeful that we just want to chop off him head. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. Guess what he's going to do? He's going to chop off his own head. You see that Goliath dying by the hand of his own sword? That's deep. That just simply means that your own, see, that's what Malcolm was talking about. Chickens coming home to roost. Their own are going to deal. They're going to deal with one another. They're so wicked, and they do so much harm on the planet that the planet itself is going to strike back. We don't have to get ourselves involved in that on a thinking level, on a word level, or on an action level. We have to focus our minds on what it is that we want to see, what it is that we want to produce, what it is that we desire, and make that our exclusive focus, as opposed to being distracted by these crazy, wayward children who have a particular nature. And the scripture is clear. In that day, the sheep and the goats will be separated. So it's not, you know, it starts here. It's a thinking. And we mustn't try to echo the thinking of the wicked. We can't outdo the wicked in wickedness. We can outdo them in righteousness. We've got to be so right. Do you know that you can be so right, beloved, that somebody's coming to murder you, but because you're so right, and you feel so right with yourself and so right with God, that you know that there's somebody on their way to murder you, you can still smile. Because you're right. Do you know that the righteous can't die?
That's right. Yes, sir.
Come on, man. Righteous people don't die, beloved. Righteous people multiply.
That's right.
When we understand that it's a particular attitude that we need and we desire in this day and time that would allow us to become immortal. To literally live. Did you hear what the minister said the other day? The minister said, I'm going to outlive all of you.
That's right.
He said, I'm not talking about physical. The minister talked about Martin Luther King and some others, and he said, I'm in that company.
That's right.
Do you understand that the minister's name, beloved, is bigger than the names of any of his critics?
Yes, sir.
The minister is huge. The minister is universal. And, you know, people don't understand. You know, some people, beloved, it's only when they're gone that people really start talking.
That's right.
You ain't heard nothing about Farrakhan yet. Farrakhan is just getting started, beloved, in terms of his name and his legacy and his nation. And his leader and teacher, who is the eternal leader of the nation of Islam, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Christ. Their kingdom, beloved, is to last forever. And so, in closing, I'm saying, beloved, that it's a time for a new way of thinking. And that's not an easy thing to do. First and foremost, we have to be courageous enough to admit that we've been thinking wrong.
Right.
Secondly, we have to appreciate that, you know, there is a focus that's required, which is very hard to come by initially, but we have to learn this art form, two art forms. The first art form is called prayer. And prayer is when you talk to God. And God is not a spook sitting on a cloud out there. He resides in here. This is his house. That's why this is called a temple. In other words, a church, a mosque, a synagogue. This is where God lives. If this is full of filthy, dirty, nasty thought processes, if it's full of cocaine, dust, or alcohol, or cigarette, God leaves. He don't occupy that space with all that junk. When he leaves, nature abhors a vacuum. So another one takes up residency. His name is Satan. He's the one who causes you, when you've drunk enough alcohol, to go and throw down a woman in a dark room and rape her against her will. He's the one who, when you have consumed enough alcohol or drugs, will cause you to go out with a knife and stab a complete stranger because you're paranoid about, he's looking at me. What are you looking at me for? What are you looking at me for, blood? Because the rider, the one seated on the throne in here, is now Satan. We have to clean up this space, beloved, so that the God can sit there comfortable and can give commands and govern in this domain, in this place. And so I'm saying, beloved, that takes practice, first and foremost, of talking to God. We have to pray. Prayer is a demonstration of faith, where you are telling yourself, or let me not say self, let me say you're talking to the God within. You are looking to the leader within yourself, and you're saying to that supreme wise one who occupies the universe and occupies a place in you, you are saying to that one, be, and it is. You are saying to that one, this is where I am going, this is how I'm moving, and I want your assistance. Guide me, take me, help me, sustain me, empower me. But you must be consistent in that talk. Never deviate from that talk. And regardless of what you go through in life, don't allow the vicissitudes of life to stop you from that positive self-talk called prayer. The second process is a process called meditation. You must, in your day, preferably at dawn, after prayer, find a quiet place where you can be quiet for a minimum of 10 minutes, 15 if you can, 30 if you can. Break it up into increments, maybe different time parts of the day before you go to sleep. But beloved, when you meditate, in other words, get quiet. And I'm talking about a quiet where you can feel your pulse beating. A quiet where you can hear your own heartbeat. A quiet where you can hear the breath that you're breathing, and you can focus on your whole being, where you can concentrate on your toes and feel them individually, where you can concentrate on your calf muscles and feel them and be aware of them, where you can concentrate on your hip bones and feel them through your mind, feel them, where you can concentrate on your breast and your breathing and hear it and feel it, where you can concentrate on your arms and your hands and feel the electricity and the pulse of energy going through you. Meditation. And learning how to listen for the voice of God. Meditation is when God talks back to you. And he will tell you things. You won't necessarily, the minister said, I don't hear no voice. But the minister said, I was on the plane and I was praying and my prayer was interrupted by a thought. And he'll give you thoughts. He'll give you ideas. Things will come to you. You say, my God, I never thought of it like that. And he'll, solutions to problems. I'm saying, beloved, please, let us renew for 2019. Let us become a praying, meditating, fasting people. The fasting, by the way, that's one of the most powerful institutions on the planet. The fasting is what allows us to be able to make tremendous change. And it gives us the feeling of achievement. When we can have food in our fridge and our cupboards at home, and we can say to this area of our body, when we can say to that which is in the navel or below the navel, no activity for you today. What that gives you is a new command from here, because this is supposed to be in charge of everything beneath it. And whenever we are led by this, the appetites, by the sex organs, then we are still on an animal level where we haven't yet evolved into that spiritual level where this spirit is more powerful than this spirit. And so fasting as an institution is something that we must employ. And it could just be like a day here or a day there. Just, you know, sometimes we get home really late and I'm talking to myself. I'm not just talking to me as well, because I do it all the time, eating late, which is ridiculous. But sometimes when we get in and it's really late, and just skip the meal, man. Skip it. Do yourself a favor. Don't eat heavy food and then go to bed. Skip it, beloved. And then the next day you'll feel energized and powerful. You know, and if we can do the 3-day fast, this is supposed to be the 3-day fast weekend. We should do the 3-day fast every month. The first Thursday of every month is the start of the fast, and we break the fast on the Sunday. And of course, we have Ramadan, and we should institute in our own personal lives our own individual fasting regimes that we should adopt. But fasting is a prescription. It's something that is good for us. I didn't say starving, I said fasting. There's a big difference. And we should practice it, because it will give us back our self-discipline. It would allow us to be able to, you know, be stronger than he that is in the world. Make him that is in us strong by fasting from the world, and then we will become a real power to be reckoned with. You know, we have to be in a position. Imagine if they were to lock you up for a week. And if they lock you up, they might want to feed you. But you may, you know, given the circumstances, depending on where they've got you, you know, I wouldn't advise you to eat from them people necessarily. It depends. It depends. It depends what it is that they're offering. If it's a sensible looking fruit or something like that, or you can get something brought in from a relative or whatever, it's different. But what I'm saying is that, you know, we should, any one of us at any given time should be able to go a week without food. That's my point. We should be able to say, you know what? I'm not going to risk my health here. I'm not eating. And we should be able to do that. So, but we will never be able to do that unless we practice that. Practice it, beloved. Practice fasting. And health-wise, it's very, very good for us. In terms of the skin, in terms of the overall health. And so, beloved, I hope that something that was said, because my subject today was just about the new year, the new man, making all things new, and the fact that the thinking, if that's not renewed, nothing else can change. It's the thinking. And then from the thinking, the words, the language. When I'm speaking to you, there should really not be a point in my talk to you where you get depressed. In my talk to you, there should be, even if it's slight, just a slight uplifting of your breast, your chest. You should feel a little bit elevated. because that's the purpose of the talk. And whenever you talk, whenever we talk, the person we're talking to should feel lifted.
That's right. Yeah.
If people are leaving you and they're like, oh God, you need to check yourself, beloved.
That's right. That's right.
Because maybe Satan is... People should believe in you feeling, wow, who's that brother? Who's that sister? Wow, that was... Thank you for that. And, you know, some of us experience that on a regular basis.
That's right.
Where people say, thank you. And you should say thank you.
Oh, yes.
By the way, that's the thing I'm saying. Say thank you. Over and over and over again. When I swing my feet out of the bed in the morning, the first thing I say is thank you. Thank you, Allah. Thank you, Allah. Just show gratitude. It's a marvelous thing. Just be grateful. Be grateful for your fingernails. Be grateful for your eyebrows and your eyelashes. Believe me, if you didn't have any, beloved, you would know about it. People would let you know, first and foremost. And then the weather and the environment would let you know. If you didn't have those hairs in your nose that are quite annoying, but they're there for a purpose. Be thankful for the fact that you have some clean clothes to put on. Be thankful for that roof over your head. If you're living in a place right now that you're not too happy with, don't spend your life moaning about it, beloved. Don't spend your life, oh, can't we hate this damn place every time you have to walk in, and that's your thought every day. No, beloved, that's wrong. Say thank you. Be grateful. Thank you. I love this space. This space is beautiful. In fact, let me do it up. The minister says, make your environment or your neighborhood a decent place to live.
That's right.
It's only when you make that place beautiful and decent that then he will give you better. But as long as we're just sitting in squalor, moaning, well, look at the place, look squalid, I mean, I like it, you know, it will never, in fact, what you do, you bring more squalid conditions. That's how it works. All to do with the thinking. As a man thinketh, as a woman thinketh, so is he, so is she. May Allah bless you as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.